liturgy. Even the way we worship tonight, when we come soon to the Eucharistic prayer, to the canon of the Mass and the consecration of the sacred species, we will be celebrating ad orientem, facing east. I'm not really sure which way this chapel faces. Are we doing liturgical east, or is that really east? We're doing liturgical east. I'm sorry, there's a lot of bends in the road getting down here. I wasn't sure which way we were facing anymore. But if not facing east itself, at least facing symbolic east or liturgical east, we orient the sacred liturgy toward God, toward Christ. It is Christ who acts in the liturgy. And we wait for Christ to come again. The church waits in expectation for Christ to come again, and the Scriptures have the great image of Christ coming from the east. And as we come to our prayer, as we come to our worship, we turn east. We look to the east. We look to the direction of Christ when He comes again in glory. And so the liturgy, all of us, face east, face Christ, waiting His return. And you'll experience that tonight for those of you who have not experienced it or have not experienced it in a long time. You know, and nothing is such a false description of that orientation of the liturgy when you hear people say, "Oh, I didn't like it when the priest used to turn his back on us." You've all heard that. That's not what it was about. It wasn't about the priest turning his back on the congregation. It was the priest joining you and facing east with you, leading you at the head of the body, the church, at the head of the congregation, leading us all in worship, in prayer, in offering the holy sacrifice, facing God. It's not a time for us to be focused on one another, but rather we turn our gaze, our liturgical gaze, to Christ. And there we offer the sacrifice which brings us salvation. This is a tremendously beautiful experience for all of us, and I can tell you as a celebrant of the liturgy in this form. And we have in this sacred liturgy the beautiful chant. The beautiful chant which is wedded to the liturgy, to the Latin rite. The chant that you have been learning about, those of you who are participants in this conference. You have been learning about the chant of the church, the Gregorian chant, the ancient chant of the church. It's fitted to this liturgy. It flows with this liturgy. It's wedded to it. It's so natural to it. The chant that you've been studying, the chant that we are now experiencing within the liturgy itself, this chant is not meant to be listened to on a CD in the car while we're driving. Yes, we can do that. But it's not for entertainment. It's not for just simple enjoyment outside the liturgy as much as we do. It's meant for the liturgy. This is its proper place here in the sacred liturgy. And again, you talk about a misinterpretation of the council and this rupture and the lack of a hermeneutic of continuity. The Second Vatican Council itself, and I'm sure, Dr. Bissonette, you shared this with all of them. The council didn't say, chuck Gregorian chant, chuck the Latin. The council said that Gregorian chant, being particularly suited to the Roman liturgy, the Latin rite, should therefore enjoy a pride of place in the sacred liturgy of the Western Latin Church. A pride of place. Well, I'm sad to say that since the Council, not only has Gregorian chant not enjoyed a pride of place, but it's hardly been heard. And that's, again, part of the need for reform. And we need to be patient. We need to be patient. And we need to appreciate our past as we look to our future. But it all has to come together. And that's why for this liturgy to flourish in the church is a great blessing. And I'm not at all embarrassed or ashamed to be celebrating this liturgy. I'm sure it will raise a few eyebrows. But it's the liturgy of the church. It's a liturgy permitted by the church. It's a liturgy even encouraged by the church. I learned this liturgy when Summorum Pontificum came out. I had never celebrated it before as a priest or in my early years as a bishop. I'd always been interested in it, but had never taken the time to learn it. When Summorum Pontificum came out, and the Holy Father said, this is one of the forms of the Latin Rite, the extraordinary form, I said, I am a bishop of the church. I must know this rite. And I encourage my priests and my seminarians to learn and to know this rite. Even if you never have a chance to celebrate it, knowing it, experiencing it, I guarantee you, will affect the way you celebrate the ordinary form. It will do so. And so we have this beautiful chant which we highlight in the liturgy today. And I thank the Schola, I thank you all for the wonderful workshop that you've done here these days. And it's wonderful now to experience this in the liturgy. I want to leave you with one final thought. I should say something about the scriptures we just heard. St. Paul, in his letter, he talks about love. He talks about the importance and the centrality of love. It is the greatest of all the virtues. And he says it doesn't matter. You know, if I have faith enough to move mountains, but I don't have love, it's useless. If I have the gift of prophecy and have not love, it's useless. If I even give everything I have and tend to the needs of the poor, but don't have love, it's for naught. I would add something, if I may add to St. Paul. We can have the most beautiful liturgy in the world, but if we do not have love, it is for nothing. And that's what I encourage all of us to remember as we seek our way forward, not to be ever embittered or angry, but people filled with the joy of the gospel and in love with our Lord Jesus and showing that love to our brothers and sisters. The greatest witness that those of this more traditional sensitivity, shall we say, the greatest witness you will give will be a witness of great love, of great kindness, of gentleness, of patience. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not put on airs. It does not brood over injuries, all of those things. If we show love, then we change the face of the world. So let's not ever forget that as much as we may want to get every word right in the liturgy, and as much as we want to get every movement down perfectly in the liturgy, if we do not have love, then it's just a show. So let's be people filled with love. Laudate